The morning air was crisp, my coffee steaming in hand, when I first sensed trouble. My dog, Rusty, usually tore through the east field, chasing sparrows through the corn stalks. But today, he froze, nose twitching, a low whine escaping his throat. I rounded the barn and stopped dead. There, glinting in the dawn light, stood a monstrous fence 10 feet tall, professionally welded, encircling half my sweet corn like a fortress. A bright orange construction cone sat where my scarecrow once stood, mocking me. Atop the fence, a sign screamed, "Private HOA property. Members only." The audacity hit like a punch. I didn't live in their HOA. Never had. This land was mine, bought 6 years ago at a tax auction, deed framed in my office. Yet there I was, locked out of my own harvest, staring at my crops like a stranger. I climbed the shed ladder for a better view. The fence wasn't just a barrier, it was a full enclosure, my corn trapped inside like stolen gold. A padlocked gate stood at the front, a gleaming middle finger to my rights. I could have laughed if I wasn't so furious. Across the road, the HOA had been sniffing around ever since they built their cookie-cutter subdivision 2 years ago. They'd always been pushy, but this was war. I marched to the gate, where a laminated sign flapped, claiming the land was rezoned by an emergency HOA vote, and my farming was unlicensed. Community soil, they called it. My blood boiled. Then I saw her, Lisa, the HOA's self-appointed queen, strutting up in yoga pants and a badge like she owned the county. She barely glanced at me, snapping photos of my crops, my barn, even my boots. "What do you think you're doing?" I asked, stepping forward. "Without missing a beat," she said, "we're reclaiming this land for community beautification. Your field's an eyesore." "An eyesore? My corn took second at the county fair last year." She smirked, adding, "Don't worry, the HOA will handle the harvest properly." The nerve. They weren't just fencing my land, they planned to steal my crops. I demanded to know by what authority they'd done this. She waved a flimsy document, probably printed off the internet, and said, "Emergency annexation. You'll get a notice." I told her I already had a notice semi-deed on file at the county registrar. She just scoffed. Good luck with a legal dispute. Our lawyers eat nuisance claims for breakfast and sauntered off like she'd won. I spent the morning pacing my office, triple-checking my paperwork. Deed, boundaries, taxes all airtight. But the county records showed something chilling. The HOA had slipped my field into a shady annexation request for nearby parcels. They built that fence fast, banking on me not reacting before they could take everything. Over the next few days, I watched, helpless, as HOA members treated my field like a public park, hauling in lawn chairs and picnic baskets. One morning, a landscaping crew rolled up and started harvesting my corn, loading it into HOA-branded trucks. I called the sheriff, but the deputy just shrugged. "Civil matter, man." Lisa waved from across the field, sipping an iced latte, her smirk sharper than a blade. But while they harvested my corn, I harvested leverage. A friend at the county land office, Tom, confirmed the annexation was under investigation for falsified zoning reports. Better yet, the easement strip and dirt road the HOA used to access my field were up for sale by a private owner. They didn't know. That night, I wired the money, expedited the title transfer, and by morning, I owned their only access route and the gate key. The same key they'd used to lock me out now spun on my finger like a loaded gun. I didn't say a word. I just changed the lock and waited. Revenge, I figured, was best served cold, with a side of fresh corn. It didn't take long. By dawn, Lisa was at the gate, rattling the new lock, her face twisting as her entourage stood clueless. From my porch, I raised my coffee mug in a mock salute. She stormed across the field, stopping just short of my property line, and shouted, "You locked the gate." I strolled over, casual as could be. "Did I? Oh, right, I own that gate now. Forgot to mention." Her jaw dropped. "You can't just change the locks. That's obstruction," she spat. "It's protection," I shot back. "Of private property. You know, the land you fenced off without permission. And the access road? Mine too." I held up a folder with the county's denial of their annexation, savoring her crimson flush. She whipped out her phone, no doubt calling her lawyers, but I was ready. 10 minutes later, Deputy Clark, an old high school buddy, pulled up. Lisa ranted, but I handed him my notarized deed, gate transfer, and zoning denial. He skimmed, sighed, and tipped his hat. "You're in the clear," he told me, then turned to Lisa. "That gate's on his land. Legal lock. You want access? Get his permission or a court order." She looked ready to combust, her cronies murmuring about lawsuits. But they hadn't expected resistance. They thought I'd fold. Instead, they were trapped outside their own fence, their trucks and fake authority useless. The irony was delicious. Over the next week, HOA members kept showing up, clipboards and cameras in hand, desperation creeping into their faces. One guy tried climbing the fence and face-planted in mud. Another sent a drone, which crashed on my barn. I mailed it back with a note, "Try a ladder." At their emergency town hall, Lisa painted me as a villain holding their crops hostage. I sat in the back, Rusty at my feet, and waited. When she called me a rogue squatter, I stood, projected my deed on the wall, and asked, if trespassing and theft are legal, then sure, they had a right to my land. Otherwise, no. The room erupted. A resident demanded to know why HOA funds were spent on the fence. Lisa's face fell. By the end, half the board was ready to quit, and I handed the clerk a USB with drone footage of my field before their fence time stamped. Undeniable. Lisa doubled down, posting in their newsletter that I was kidnapping food security and calling my gate purchase land piracy. I framed that one. Meanwhile, I filed a civil claim for crop theft, land encroachment, and damages the fence had crushed my irrigation trench and a quarter-acre of beans. My attorney laughed at their annexation form. They'd misspelled the county name. Then I found another gem. The HOA's storage lot across the fence had a tax lien. I bought it at auction for $500, changed the locks, and posted a sign. Private property. Trespassers prosecuted. Lisa saw it and nearly imploded, demanding a meeting, claiming the crops had historical community value. I sent a courier with a reply. The only history here is your board's collapse. The HOA's next forum was chaos. Residents demanded answers. Why were fees up while sidewalks crumbled? Why spend thousands on a useless fence? Lisa dodged, but when someone asked why she didn't get my permission, she froze. A board member resigned on the spot, apologizing for backing her. 3 more followed, and a petition to oust Lisa circulated. My land, meanwhile, thrived. I replanted corn, added motion sensor lights, and built a greenhouse by the gate, its tomatoes taunting the HOA through the bars. I filmed every trespass attempt, building a case that would echo in court. Lisa's final gambit was a landscaping crew with a bulldozer, sent to restore access. But my no trespassing order stopped them cold. Deputy Clark arrived, handed Lisa an injunction, and warned, "Touch that gate, and you're arrested." She stood silent, clutching her blueprint, staring at what she'd lost. I twirled the key, saying nothing. The scoreboard was clear. The HOA unraveled fast. Leaked sheriff footage turned Lisa into a punchline. Residents packed meetings, some in corn-themed shirts reading, "Give back the crops." An investigation revealed Lisa's misuse of funds, fake patrols, a luxury retreat. She stormed out of a meeting as residents chanted for her resignation. The board voted her out. My lawsuit, fueled by a forgotten HOA bylaw banning unvoted land actions, won in court. The judge ordered the fence removed and $85,000 in restitution. Lisa was personally liable. I told the news, they should have knocked instead of fencing my land. The clip went viral. The fence came down, panel by panel, as I sipped lemonade with Rusty. Lisa vanished, rumors swirling she'd fled town. The HOA, near bankrupt, slashed dues and sold assets. I bought their old lot, turned it into a rest stop for everyone but HOA board members. At a barbecue on my land, I grilled fresh corn and gave out padlock keychains, laughing off retaliation fears. They tried everything, I said, and handed me the keys. I built a roadside stand, Freedom Harvest, with a court ruling printout for curious passersby. A woman bought corn and shared her own HOA horror story, her voice cracking. I gave her an extra ear, free. The gate became a monument, arched with a sign. Private property. Respect the line. Lisa's old HOA sign, burned and resin encased, hung below a plaque. Never forget who tried to take what wasn't theirs. The original key sat in a jar labeled Lisa's contribution. My land was quiet again, corn swaying, fought for and won. It wasn't about crops or fence, it was about standing firm, owning the ground beneath you, and daring anyone to cross the line.